my sciatica.
What is crack-a-lackin', my fellow nursing home members? Most of you are probably too young. So, hey, at least you're my orderlies. Okay? So here we're doing something different besides my Let's Plays. I'm just ranting because, well, there's something came out in Polygon. Here you go. Run by, run by this guy, Creepy Ben Kushera. Doesn't he look like a bulimic Jack Nicholson with a meth-addled sexual predator vibe? So, yeah, do you want a good review on this crappy game? Well, you're gonna have to take off your panties and show us the good Ghibli jubals. Here it is, Call of Duty World War II's diversity is nothing more than marketing. So it's not good enough. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. And just like Doom, here's how Polygon plays the social justice game. Be better if the shotgun was pointed at their face. But I just want to point this out. See? Because when I browse Polygon, Dos Equis. So this is written by Allegra Frank. First of all, if you name your kid after an allergy medicine, I don't think that's a compliment. In fact, I think that's your parents telling you you're going to be a huge rash all over their body for the rest of their life. And Allegra Frank, let's just see some of the articles she's written in the past. Yep, Tropes vs. Women ends the series with a look at female sidekicks. Yep, she is an Anita Sarkeesian in Wonderlic graduate of victimhood and blaming. All right? And so if you don't think she's a feminist, man, maybe you're jumping to conclusions a little bit. Well, here you go. Yep, look at the smug look on her face. As for this picture, listen. I'm not going to talk too ill of you, but if you are the hottest person in that club, then that has got to be the fuggliest club in all of New York City. And I'm saying this because
I am not what you would call a handsome man.
Thank you, Clint Howard. Yes, I am not. But, yeah, there's a line between confidence and self-delusion. And she is teetering on the edge. Because here is what most of her tweets entail. Maturity personified. She also is a lot of her nice tweets here. Yeah, you got that. Pokemon. Does a lot of cosplay. Doesn't do a lot of gaming stuff. Yep, there's some more. Ooh, the Pokemon and Sonic. And there's some more Pokemon. We got it. All right. So, unfortunately, for such a Pokemon expert and lover, this is what Dimetap Frank Polygon is. What the hell do they care? Why? Because they're owned by Vox Media, who now has the eponymous Vox. And if you don't know some of the worst things in Vox, hey, just look up articles Vox got wrong. They should have a sign that says 0 days since Vox wrote an accurate article. How about this? Yes, Vox acts reader for Obamacare success stories, and it backfires horrifically. It's always good with social media here where you could just use a little capture screen and grab all this stuff. I love it. I love it so much. So, basically, all these tweets, boom, boom, boom. Well, premiums. Yes, premiums went up, deductibles went up. What a great thing. Of course, I am not justifying what the Republicans are doing right now, because you had 8 years to work on something and you still can't repeal it and give people adequate health care. How about this? Anyone in Congress, you have to use the same health care that we all have to use. How do you like them apples? Anyways, now I know I've been skirting around the issues. Kind of been attacking the messenger instead of the message, but you'll see in a while. The reason I'm doing this, I am a veteran. I am old. I am not as old as World War II, believe me, but I am old enough to know many World War II veterans. and I buried a lot of them. Not physically, but I've been there, and not many anymore. We still got one kicking at the local vets club. Mucinix Frank, needed help from ONS Good on this article, and it starts off right here, right in the beginning. And if you've never heard what she sounds like, there is a Polygon YouTube channel. It gets about 7,000 views for being the fourth biggest website on gaming. It gets 7,000 views. PewDiePie could crap that in his sleep. PewDiePie blinks and he gets 7,000 views. Just for a little clarification of how piss poor that is. I'm going to read this first paragraph exactly how she sounds when she is being a spectator when someone else is playing a game. Okay? That's where her gaming integrity comes. Somebody else is playing the game. All right? And she sounds exactly like a smug looking feminist like that would sound like. Since America, like pop culture, like took control of World War II as a narrative, it's always like been presented as like a white man's war. From sands of like Iwo Jima to like The Great Escape, oh my god, The Thin Red Line, to saving, oh my god, like Private Ryan. That's the perspective you get. Call of Duty, World War II, like, is it like going to change this? No way. Nah. But it like sure wants credit for trying. Yeah, yes, she does sound like that. She's got the gravelly, drawn out, like everything speaking is such a chore, and the like as a conjunction. Oh, gets on my nerves, for crying out loud. It's not a conjunction. I mean, if you need to think about what you're going to say beforehand, or edit this shit out, man. It's not that hard. I edit everything out. I do sometimes I catch myself doing it. I strive to be better. Every video that she's in with Polygon, I only watched 2. I couldn't get through too many of them. I apologize. I couldn't I'm not a journalist. Wait a minute. I am not a senior reporter at Polygon. Okay, so that one got me. Presented as a white man's war. The narrative that it is presented as a white man's war. I wonder why. Let's just check. Oh, no, now. This is from the census.gov. Something that the far left is either too lazy or not inclined or doesn't have the wherewithal to actually go back and change numbers so they suit their little ideology. Now, this is from 1940. As we can see, where I'm pointing here, boop, 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 90% white people, 10% black Americans. Not African Americans, sorry. African American, you know what that terminology is? Used by Jesse Jackson. He brought it, when I was an adult, he brought it into the mainstream. I kept on saying it and just wanted something to put his name on. But that African American nowadays is either said by suburban white people to believe that to have a hubris throne. It's also used by white people trying to be black. Sean King, the Young Turks are going to love you because, hell, you got a woman on there that doesn't sit there and admit that the person that employs her was responsible for the genocide of her people. All right, Zyrtec Frank, this is you. First of all, sweetie, you can't be 1.5 of something. I love to do the math on that with you, but I think it's self-explanatory. Okay? If anything, you are 10% black. But the most telling sign is that you are an upper-class Jewish person. It's always the individuals here that have a lot more cream than coffee in their genetic makeup, in their DNA. They are the lattes of America. I'd love to see a study on that, something in Psychology Today that shows why it is that the people that have a very low amount of black DNA in their makeup, probably generations back too, like 2 generations back, that they're the ones that always have to stand up and say oppression and give black people a chance. Especially someone who's upper middle class and half Jewish. All right, micro rant over. So I got a microaggression rant. A microaggression rant. That's it. That's the name. Microaggression rant. Anyways, that's it. Now, Mark Twain used to say facts are stubborn, right? And these are the facts. It is 10%. We'll round it up. 10%. Yep, 10%. So why aren't they portrayed more in World War II games? They were 10% of the population, which is almost just like today. Well, Mark Twain also said facts are stubborn, but statistics are more pliable. And that's pliable. And that would be statistic misuse. The first thing you have to do is critical thinking skills. Now, unfortunately, what would happen is that CNN, MSN, Wall Street Journal, Washington Post, the New York Times would use those and run with them. Statistical and honesty is misuse of statistics. And there's a good saying, a very old saying, that some people use statistics like a drunk uses a lamppost for support, not illumination. So now our cognitive brain goes, well, 10% of black people in America. World War II, men. Okay, men fought. So, we split it in half. We'll bump it up to 10%, 50%, right? 50% of that, so that's 5%. Now, throughout human history, there have always been more women than men because women are more valued. Yes, another revisionist form of history that they will tell you is a lie, but throughout human history, because of our biological and evolutionary needs, women were always catered and cared for more than men. Men are expendable. You can have one guy impregnate 30 women. You can't have women, a low amount of women, keeping the human race going. And that's what we see today, too, with modern day feminism, third wave feminism, that don't want kids but rather have cats. Guess what? Cats are on the rise. Our birth rates are going down the tubes, especially with white America, because most of the feminists are white women. We sit there and we say, well, if there's always been more women than men, so we break that down a little bit. We give 1%. All right, so 4% black males in America in 1940. Now you sit there, you run with that, okay? Well, you go, well, there should still be more black people in World War II games. It's always been a racist type of game genre. Okay, then. Now your brain has to do some more cognitive thought. That prefrontal cortex has to hit in high gear. And you sit there and go, okay, 4% of America were black males in 1940. Well, 60-year-old men didn't fight, right? Disabled men didn't fight. Criminals didn't fight. Well, okay, so we kind of got to break that down further. So then we'll come to the age distribution. So say we got the 4% black males. Now, another thing we got to do, instead of just doing revisionist history, we got to think a little bit more. So now we got this grouping, 42.8. We're 18 to 44. Now that's a wide range, but we'll keep it there. We'll just break it down and we'll make sure it's 42%. So 42% out of 4%. Okay? Don't do the math yet. Don't do the math yet. I'm getting to it. But we also have to think about, well, back in those days, we weren't as soft as we are now. That's why World War II games hit me and a lot of other males, Hispanic males, black males, white males. It gets us. Why? Because they were real men. These games are portraying video game characters, but they're also a symbol of real men who were brave, who had courage. And we know that courage isn't Caitlyn Jenner putting on a dress. Not Caitlyn, Bruce Jenner. I don't care. Have him sue me. Bruce Jenner putting on a dress and saying he's Caitlyn. That's not courage. it shows that even men are better at winning Women of the Year. But no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding on that one. I'm kidding. That was stupid, but I'm kidding. But it shows that real courage and real bravery. Because we know that courage isn't being fearless, but it's the judgment that something else is more important than that fear. But back then, flat feet, asthma, any type of mark on the mental aptitude test, any type of felony or even a misdemeanor would knock you out because they wanted the best of the best. So nowadays, they don't even care about felonies anymore. That's how desperate they are. But 42%, and then you got more taken out there. All right, so we got the 42% and 4%. So you do the math, and I'm going to do this on pen and paper. Something that Dimetap Frank probably didn't do before she wrote her article. And that is 1.7%. And I'm not going to do the math on this, but when we look back on who served in the military in World War II, 15% of American males of fighting age fought in World War II. You know, the rich didn't fight. The rich never fight. They profit, but they never fight. Even during World War II. As noble as a cause that was. But you could do the math on that one, but that's such a low decimal that it's below 1%. It's not even worth doing. 15% of that 1.72%. Right? So you use that against that. So the black participation in World War II was negligible. Okay, so let's go back to this. So we did the math. We have the facts. This is the one that made me do the video. And I don't know if it was O and S good. And by the way, when you put your middle initial in there, it doesn't denote intelligence. Okay, pal? It just denotes that you have an unfinished screenplay on your Apple notepad and that you drink too many vegan soy lattes at Starbucks. But here we go. This is the one that got me. For now, the tone-deaf manner in which this all-white production checked all the diversity boxes, woman, an African-American unit, black American unit, thank you, and even a child, reduced everyone to a bullet point on the back of the box. Yet another feature. We got a private multiplayer beta. We got zombies. We got black people. We got women. We got a Jew. Hurrah. So even when Activision goes full SJW on this game, which is going to be horrible because seeing on the trailer what it has, and this is by a great, I want to just point, we're going to go here and point out a good writer. And this is Tyler Wilde from PC Gamer. And Tyler felt the need to write this. This is from Sledgehammer co-founder, Condry. When we started this journey almost 3 years ago, yeah, I'm sure it was 3 years ago. I'm sure it wasn't due to an election. It was really about wanting to tell the really impactful narrative, there's that fucking buzzword again, and story, largely to ensure this sort of conflict doesn't happen again. So you're equating World War II with any type of war that's going to happen. Ooh, to Russia, it's going to get us. When the hell did Russia ever step up to us? They have always backed down. It has always been in a passive, even the Cold War was a passive-aggressive war of just bluffing. Right? And when we had JFK, who even the lefts sit there and praise, we sat there and we called their bluff and we said we're not going to take it. Even though it was kind of our fault for putting missiles in Turkey. The Cuban Missile Crisis, when we called their bluff and said, we're not joking. We will mess you up. We will go to war if you decide to put missiles right in our hemisphere. That's not how we play things. Now again, we were kind of hypocritical, but we called their bluff and they didn't call ours. So that's how Russia's always been. I don't care if you got Putin in there. That's not going to happen. Tyler did a great line where he's just like, why you squeegee the spit off your monitor, let's consider that claim. Okay, so, but yeah, that's the part where the trailer is basically they're trying to sell Call of Duty World War II as an anti-war message to us, the little people. And again, the reason I hated this story by Polygon, and I think Polygon is just exactly what my thumbnail entails, it's a shit coming out of feminist ass. The fact of the matter is that everyone, this Call of Duty World War II would have been great if we didn't make it America-centric. Now, see, I agree with that. If we had more of the smaller conflicts, I wouldn't say smaller. I wouldn't say small because they were more bloodier than anything we happened upon. But I would enjoy it if they did more of the European-centric. The British and the French. Poland, trying to stop the wave of Nazis coming over. What happened in Hungary would have been nice, where Hitler lied about democracy will be here, I am your savior, I will help you. And Hungary had everything. They had a great birth rate, they had a great education rate, they had freedom. And when they believed the liar talking about democracy, that's when it all changed. When Hitler said, I'll make you safe. Safety over security. And Hungary got destroyed. That would have been a good thing to have during Call of Duty World War II, wouldn't it? How about Czechoslovakia during that time? That would have been an amazing story, and I'm not going to ruin that for you. I'm not going to spell that out because I'm getting long on time, but I want you to look up Czechoslovakia during World War II. That would have been a good thing to have. Now, as for black Americans in World War II, yeah, let's talk about that. So 125,000 African Americans were overseas. Now, it doesn't say again, they were overseas. Not in combat. I mean, you got the Tuskegee Airmen, and of course you got the wonderful 761st Tank Battalion, who Patton said, they say it's brave to die for your country, so let's see how many of those Krauts will die for theirs. You know, there's no greater honor dying for your country. Nothing more patriotic, I think. That's what it was. There's nothing more patriotic than dying for your country, so let's see how many Krauts can be patriotic today. So Patton was in awe, and, well, I wouldn't say he was awe, but Patton didn't care what color their skin was. He reminded them that they're not fighting just for their race over in America, but they're fighting for America as a whole. It's just that everyone of their race was looking at them as heroes. So Patton gave them that. And he treated them as equals. And then, of course, you had the anti-aircraft artillery battalion. Okay, so that's three. That's 3 units, 125,000. Now, there were women there, but mostly, again, segregated. They were in areas that combat was not taking place in. Many of those units. Not to their own volition, but because of orders by politicians. Doesn't make it any less, but still. So you got all those, and if this game has the 761st Tank Battalion, that'd be great. It'd be wonderful. But if you want to sit here and say, well, make the whole game about black units, well, that would be one boring game. Because they weren't battling all the time, right? I'm sure they could make it an exciting game, but it wouldn't be historically immersive. And that's why we do the World War II games. You know, we want to be back there. A lot of our testosterone has been knocked out of us in this current age, just why social norms, college, brainwashing in elementary school, where men are no good and boys are just defective females. There was a great female combatant, but unfortunately, I don't think it would fly in today's society with today's way of thinking, because her name was Ludmila Pavlichenko, nicknamed the Lady Death. That's right, Russian. Can't have a Russian in a video game because they might hack the code, apparently. But that's the baddest mother effing female soldier in history. 257 German soldiers she killed. So now we go. That leaves fighters of color. Fighters who are women in supporting roles. Because that wouldn't be historically accurate at all. I could take this article, shred it up, spread it on my lawn, and get the greenest grass ever. That's how big of a fertilizer pile this article is. What the hell do you want? You want a current age Disney movie? Like the new Star Wars movies? You just want a woman going in there blazing? Hey, I never saw a saw before. But, hey, I could load it, pack it, and shoot about 300 German soldiers. Yeah, that would get a lot of American males. Hell, that would get a lot of American and European males. Hell, even Indian and even Asian people to go, what the hell? Okay, whatever. What a great game, Activision. Good going, Sledgehammer. I'm so immersed in history. Just because brothers of different races didn't fight alongside each other doesn't mean that players in the year 2017 shouldn't inhabit and absorb all their experiences. So you're forcing people to play a game your way. How's that any different from what you're trying to peg this as? A white man's war narrative. So you're trying to force the other part. You will play as a black person. Okay. Doesn't make a difference. Essentially what you're trying to do is state that white men shouldn't have heroes. You should just basically get rid of all of them in favor of more diversity. And that's not how real world works. That's not how trying to get somebody to see your view of things. That's not how you do it. Essentially what you do is you just make these games crap. And that's it. As long as people like Benadryl Frank and Owen So Good get to push their narrative down people's throats and stomp and temper tantrum to get their way, that's what they're going to do. But I'll tell you something here, Benadryl Frank. Before you do that, it is really imperative that you stop appropriating Japanese culture. That does it for me. I hope you enjoyed this little walk through history, a little statistic, and a lot of me going back and editing a lot of this shit out. So, having said that, thank you for listening to my rant. Polygon is shit. And get up my intro on!